Okay guys, so we've got the window stops finished. Squared them up, drilled our holes in them, and then put our original screws in there. If you drill them a little too deep, you can always throw in a washer in there, kind of build up the space. Certainly much better than our old hard ones that came from original OEMs. That's how they looked, and you can see they were well used and did a lot of stopping. So these are the new ones. We'll install those in just a little while. We'll talk about them. First of all, let's kind of move on to the next project. Just want to wrap this up. We worked on this a while back. Didn't really get a chance to video it. So these are the window runners. That's called the window runner or glass runner. It fits inside the door up towards the A-pillar. And this was the felt that was inside of it. Pretty simple stuff. It wasn't complicated. Fabric on the back end and some cloth on the front end. And this is where you get a lot of binding. A lot of guys don't take the time to restore these units. And so this piece actually fit right there. You can see where that curvature on that cloth was. It fit on the edge. And it went up and down the whole side, both sides. And they actually used a staple for these things. They here's an original staple from '38 right here. So they used an actual staple. You can see right here, you get a good shot, there you go. You can see where they were just stapled into the metal, believe it or not. So we replaced that. This is also a vulcanized piece. We replace all that fabric, and this is vulcanized in that it's covered in rubber. And so we replace all that. We pull the rubber off, we put it in acid, then we media blast it, then we just do a quick spray paint on them. This is not seen, so if it scratches on it, really not matter. You're going to get scratches because you're going to slide it back in, and it is a very tight fit. But what we do, instead of putting cloth in here, we get sticky-sided Velcro. I'm going to run it in the sun here so you can see, or in the light. You might be able to see it. There you go. You can see that Velcro. We just put it on the edge. That's all we do right there, both sides. And then we run it down the seam all the way to the top. And so what that's doing is it's guiding the glass, and it's keeping the glass from rattling. So you want to make sure that you put plenty of Velcro in there and you get a good connection. So you got to make it clean, which means you got to take all that rubber off of it. Next thing real quick we want to talk about is the actual glass, I guess you could say the base of the glass. This is where the glass slides in. You use a piece of rubber. It's I guess you could say it's got a little bit of a glue, a little tackiness to this rubber. And what it does is it fills the gap between the glass and this frame. Now, one thing you need to really be careful with is aftermarket frames are great. They're shaped right. Their dimensions are perfect. The problem that you run into is the depth of this channel right here where the rollers slide in is not wide enough for the rollers of OEM. So you end up getting a new one of these, and the problem you run into is it won't fit with your regulator. I have found that on many occasions. Whoever's making these aftermarket glass bases here, they're not measuring correctly, and you end up going back to what you had originally. Now, the part that you had originally, which is this piece right here, the problem that you run into this piece is, and you guys can see it, is that they tend to rot. And why do they rot? Is because the windows are left open and it rains. And when that happens, these get wet, either inside the door, and they don't dry, and they tend to rot. You can see the edge of this unit is pretty chewed up good. We media blasted it as best we could, got some of the rot out of it. So you make up the difference of the gap with this rubber. So as they get older, they get wider and the metal gets looser. And so what you do is you just fill it with a thicker piece of rubber here. And they come in many sizes. We keep them on stock. Different thicknesses of rubber for different needs. As your metal gets older, it doesn't hold as tight. If it's fairly new or remanufactured, you would probably want a thinner piece of metal, and that would go in one of these. But I say, careful with these because these channels are not deep enough to fit the rollers of the regulator. So this one's ready to go. We've got the glass in it. or we've got the rubber gasket in there ready to go. Just slide the glass in it. And then we've got the channels done. They're ready to go. So the last piece we got to work on right now is going to be the glass, the window channel felt. We'll work on that, and we'll install our tabs that lock in. And these tabs fit into the, sorry about that, I had my finger in the way. These tabs fit into these channel. One side, this piece fits into the glass runner, and then this piece fits into the garnish molding. So let's go ahead and install that. Take a look at it when we get done.